All right, so you sent us a bunch of articles
Yeah.
all about the JFK assassination.
Mm-hmm.
And looks like you're really interested in this 1998 issue of the Fourth Decade,
Right.
a journal that gets into some of the like alternative theories
Yeah.
about that day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we love about these deep dives,
Right.
getting to explore those less traveled paths.
Exactly.
But amidst all this JFK material,
Yeah.
there's one name that keeps coming up that seems
Mm-hmm.
a little out of place.
Yeah.
William Bruce Pitzer.
William Bruce Pitzer.
So what's the connection? Let's dive in.
You're right. The name William Bruce Pitzer may not immediately ring a bell when you think about
Yeah.
the JFK assassination.
Mm-hmm.
Officially, his death was ruled a suicide,
Right.
case closed.
Yeah.
But the FBI, well, they weren't quite convinced. Enough doubt lingered that they launched a homicide investigation.
A homicide investigation. Why?
Yeah.
I mean, he was found with a gunshot wound to the head
Right.
there in his office.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like there's much mystery there.
Well, that's where things get interesting.
Okay.
You've provided us with some really compelling FBI files, and they paint a much more complicated picture.
Okay.
No powder burns,
Wow.
no gunshot residue on his hand,
Okay.
and get this unidentified fingerprints at the scene.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like
Yeah.
a scene out of a spy thriller.
Now my ears are perked up.
Yeah.
But before we get too lost in the twists and turns of like
Yeah.
the Pitzer mystery, let's zoom out for a second
Okay.
and look at the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
One of the articles that you sent,
Yeah.
titled A Subject for the Second Term, JFK's China Policy
Right.
and His Assassination,
Mm-hmm.
suggests a motive for wanting JFK out of the picture.
Yeah.
And it all has to do with China.
Right.
Most people probably don't realize how much tension
Yeah.
surrounded U.S.-China relations back in the early 60s.
Absolutely. We're talking about a time when the U.S. refused to officially recognize communist China.
Right.
And there was a powerful group,
The China lobby.
the China lobby.
Pulling a lot of strings behind the scenes to keep it that way.
Interesting.
Think of them as a global interest group with deep ties to intelligence agencies.
Mm-hmm.
They wielded immense power
Yeah.
and weren't afraid to use it.
Wow. So JFK was walking into a political minefield.
He was.
But this article suggests he was actually considering a
Yeah.
major policy shift during his second term.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to formally recognize communist China.
Right.
Can you imagine the uproar from the China lobby?
It would have been a seismic shift.
Yeah.
And not just in terms of politics.
Right.
There were whispers.
Okay.
And I emphasize whispers because this is murky territory
Mm-hmm.
of CIA involvement in the Asian opium trade.
Wow.
A change in China policy could have disrupted those activities,
Yeah.
adding a whole other layer of complexity and
Right.
motive.
So suddenly the stakes are much higher.
Much higher.
Right.
We're not just talking about political ideology.
Wow.
We're talking about power, money, and potentially even covert operations.
Absolutely now.
Wow.
Pressing this to Pitzer requires a leap.
Yeah.
We're venturing into speculative territory.
Right.
But consider this.
Okay.
If Pitzer was privy to information about JFK's intentions regarding China,
Mm.
and if those intentions threatened powerful figures,
Right.
like maybe those with ties to the China lobby,
Yeah.
then his death, especially under such suspicious circumstances,
Yeah.
becomes incredibly interesting.
Okay. So we've got this potential powder keg
We do.
surrounding JFK's China policy.
Yeah.
And now we have this mysterious death,
Right.
shrouded in inconsistencies. Let's bring Pitzer back into the spotlight.
Okay.
What exactly was he doing at Bethesda Naval Hospital at this time?
That's right.
We're talking about 3 years after JFK's assassination.
1966.
1966.
And this is where the puzzle pieces start to come together.
Okay.
Or at least appear to. Pitzer was stationed at Bethesda,
Yeah.
the very same hospital where the JFK autopsy was conducted.
Hold on. Is there any confirmation that he was actually involved in the autopsy itself?
That's one of the big unanswered questions.
Okay.
The articles you sent mention that he was responsible for filming medical procedures at the hospital. It's certainly plausible that he could have been involved in filming the autopsy,
Right.
but we need more information to confirm that.
Okay, so we're working with a lot of ifs here.
Yeah.
But let's say for argument's sake
Right.
that he was involved in some capacity.
Yeah.
What kind of information could he have had access to that would have made him a target?
Well, imagine if you witnessed something during the filming that contradicted the official narrative, something that could have implicated powerful individuals.
Yeah.
Or maybe he stumbled upon documents, reports, anything that could have shed new light on the assassination.
Or maybe someone just thought he knew more than he did.
It's possible.
We've seen how paranoia and fear can
Yeah.
drive people to extreme measures.
Right.
Especially in situations like this.
Exactly. The atmosphere surrounding the JFK assassination was rife with suspicion and conspiracy theories.
Right.
Even the slightest hint of dissenting information could have been perceived as a threat.
So we've got a possible connection to the autopsy.
We do.
We've got powerful figures potentially threatened by JFK's China policy. And we've got a death that looks an awful lot like a carefully staged suicide.
It's a tangled web, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And to really understand the significance of Pitzer's death, we need to delve into the specifics of the FBI investigation.
Yeah.
What did they uncover and what did they miss?
Well, let's unravel that next.
Right.
You mentioned the FBI files you received.
Yeah.
What are some of the key details that stand out?
Oh, there are so many.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah.
The FBI really went deep.
Yeah.
They conducted dozens of interviews trying to piece together Pitzer's mental state and motives.
Right.
Was he suicidal?
Yeah.
Was he troubled? They talked to family, friends, colleagues.
Wow.
Even his mistress.
Wait, his mistress?
Yeah.
You mentioned he was having an affair earlier.
Right.
What did she have to say?
She actually played a crucial role in the investigation.
Cool.
Initially, she told the FBI that Pitzer seemed happy, not at all suicidal.
Right.
But then after his death, she reread his final letter to her and changed her story,
Wow.
claiming it was full of despair
Really?
and hinting at suicide.
So even his closest confidant
Right.
was unsure about his true state of mind.
Exactly.
That just adds to the ambiguity of it all.
It does.
But the FBI wasn't just relying on personal accounts right now.
Yeah, they were.
They had those intriguing forensic details to look into as well.
Right.
Remember those unidentified fingerprints we talked about?
I do.
The FBI meticulously compared them to prints from anyone who should have had access to Pitzer's office.
Right.
No matches.
No matches.
That means someone was in that room who shouldn't have been.
That's right.
This is starting to feel like a real-life whodunit.
Yeah.
What else did the FBI find?
Well, the lack of gunshot residue on Pitzer's hand already cast doubt on the suicide theory, but the FBI wanted to be absolutely certain.
Okay.
So they conducted a paraffin test.
Paraffin test.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's a test that used to be common in firearm investigations.
Okay.
They basically coat the suspect's hand in paraffin wax to see if there are any traces of gunpowder embedded in the skin.
In Pitzer's case.
The test was negative.
Wow.
No gunpowder. It simply didn't add up.
Right.
You have a man found dead from a gunshot wound, a gun nearby, yet no evidence he actually fired it.
So we have unidentified fingerprints in the room.
Right.
And no evidence Pitzer pulled the trigger.
Right.
Those are pretty big holes in the suicide theory.
They are.
But it still doesn't definitively prove homicide. What about the Navy's investigation?
Yeah.
They seem pretty convinced it was suicide.
They did.
Did the FBI find anything to contradict that?
They found plenty of inconsistencies, yes.
Okay, like what?
For instance, the Navy focused heavily on Pitzer's affair as a potential motive for suicide.
Right.
They claimed he was deeply unhappy in his marriage and saw his relationship with this other woman as a way out.
But isn't it possible he was genuinely distressed over the affair?
It's
possible. Maybe he was feeling trapped nutty. Who knows?
That's what the Navy argued.
Okay.
But the FBI dug deeper.
Right.
They interviewed people who knew Pitzer well.
Yeah.
And many described him as on edge or disturbed in the weeks leading up to his death.
Okay.
But no one thought he was suicidal.
Really?
His wife even told investigators that he seemed unusually cheerful.
Wow.
On the morning of his death.
Cheerful.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like someone on the verge of taking their own life.
No.
What was he doing that morning?
According to witness accounts, Pitzer had a pretty normal Saturday morning.
Okay.
He helped his wife wash the car, reminded his son to get a haircut.
Okay.
Even stopped by the Navy Exchange to chat with some colleagues.
So we have these seemingly mundane, everyday activities leading up to his death.
Yeah.
That juxtaposition is just so jarring.
It is.
You're washing your car 1 minute and the next.
Right.
It just doesn't fit the typical pattern
No.
of someone spiraling toward suicide.
Exactly. And the FBI picked up on that discrepancy.
Okay.
They noted that Pitzer's actions that morning seemed inconsistent with someone planning to take their own life.
Okay, so we've got a lot of doubt swirling around the suicide theory.
We do.
But even if we accept that Pitzer's death was suspicious,
Right.
that it might even have been murder,
Mm-hmm.
the big question remains why?
Right.
How does this tie back to the JFK assassination,
Yeah.
to the China lobby,
Mm-hmm.
to all those bigger forces we discussed earlier?
That's where things get really murky.
Yeah.
Remember, we're dealing with a lot of speculation here, a lot of what-ifs.
Right.
But the timing of Pitzer's death,
Mm-hmm.
his potential involvement in the JFK autopsy,
Right.
and the political climate at the time,
Yeah.
it's hard to ignore those possible connections.
I agree. It's like all these puzzle pieces are scattered on the table.
Right.
And we can see some edges that might fit together.
Yeah.
But the full picture is still elusive.
Right.
And to complicate matters further,
Yeah.
there's one crucial piece of the puzzle
Mm-hmm.
that's gone missing.
Right.
The Board of Investigation
Mm-hmm.
that looked into Pitzer's death
Right.
relied heavily on reports from the Naval Investigative Service,
Yeah.
the NIS.
This is NIS. But those reports have mysteriously vanished.
They have.
Wait, those reports are missing?
Yeah,
That's a bit too convenient, isn't it?
it is.
What could they have contained that someone wanted to keep hidden? But those NIS reports could have held crucial information about the investigation.
Right.
Witness testimonies.
Yeah.
Forensic analyses.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even leads that the FBI missed.
Right.
It's like a chapter has been ripped out of the story.
So we're dealing with a potential cover-up on top of everything else.
It appears so.
This is getting deeper than I imagined.
It certainly adds another layer of intrigue
Yeah.
to the whole affair.
Right.
And it underscores the importance of questioning the official narrative,
Yeah.
of digging deeper
Yeah.
and seeking out those missing pieces of information.
Well, you've given us a lot to ponder.
I have.
We've got a suspicious death,
Yes.
possible connections to the JFK assassination,
We do.
and now missing investigative reports.
Right.
Where do we go from here?
Well,
What are some of the avenues you think are worth exploring?
I think...
It's like we've stumbled onto a cold case, one
Yeah.
of those historical mysteries
Right.
that just begs to be solved.
Yeah.
Except this time you're the detective.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
So we've laid out the pieces of the puzzle,
Mhm.
explored the evidence,
Yeah.
highlighted the gaps in the official narrative.
Right.
Now it's up to you to decide what you make of it all.
So where do you go from here? What
Yeah.
are some of the next steps
Yeah.
you could take to unravel this mystery?
Well, for starters, you could try tracking down those missing NIS reports.
Okay.
They're like the holy grail of this investigation.
Yeah.
Who knows what kind of information they might contain?
But where would you even begin to look for something like that?
Right.
Those reports could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Or they could be gone forever.
It's a long shot for sure.
Yeah.
But you could start by contacting the National Archives,
Okay.
see if they have any records of those reports
Mhm.
or any information about what happened to them.
Right.
You could also try reaching out to researchers who have specialized in this area,
Mhm.
people who might have encountered those reports or have insights into where they might be.
So there's still hope that those reports could resurface.
There's always hope.
That would be a game changer.
It would be incredible.
Yeah.
But even without those reports,
Yeah.
there are other avenues you could explore.
Okay.
You could delve deeper into Pitzer's life and work.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any colleagues who might have known something?
Right.
Any personal documents
Yeah.
or correspondence
Right.
that could shed light on his state of mind or any information he might have had?
What about the unidentified fingerprints?
Oh, yeah.
Any chance of tracking down those leads after all these years?
It's a long shot, but technology has advanced a lot
Right.
since the 1960s.
Yeah.
It might be worth reaching out to forensic experts.
Okay.
See if they have any new techniques that could be applied to those old fingerprints.
Right.
Maybe there's a chance they could finally be identified.
This whole deep dive has really opened my eyes to the complexities
Yeah.
of historical research.
Mhm.
It's not just about reading textbooks or accepting the official version of events.
Right.
It's about asking questions,
Yeah.
digging for those hidden clues,
Exactly.
and piecing together a puzzle that might never be fully complete.
Exactly. And sometimes the most compelling mysteries
Yeah.
are the ones that leave us with more questions than answers.
Right.
It's that sense of intrigue, that desire to uncover the truth
Yeah.
that keeps us digging deeper,
Right.
even when the path forward seems uncertain.
Well, I have a feeling this is just the beginning of your journey down the rabbit hole.
Right.
You've got the knowledge.
Yeah. Oh.
You've got the curiosity.
Keep going.
And now you have the tools to conduct your own investigation.
Remember, don't be afraid to challenge assumptions, question the official narrative,
Right.
and explore those alternative theories.
Right.
The truth is out there waiting to be discovered.
And who knows, maybe you'll be the one to finally crack this case wide open.
That would be amazing.
And if you do, we want to hear about it.
Yeah.
Send us your findings, your theories, your aha moments.
Because the search for truth is a collaborative effort.
Right.
We're all in this together.
Yeah.
Digging deeper, challenging the status quo,
Right.
and piecing together the puzzle of history one clue at a time.
So until next time, keep questioning.
Yes.
Keep exploring.
Keep digging.
And keep on diving deep.